And now we're live.
Oh my
No,
gosh.
no intro or nothing.
Just straight into it. We dive in head first.
Yep. Just like everything else in life. How you doing today, man?
I'm great. What is this called? What's the is the thumbnail title the name of the show, or is that just the name of this discussion?
That is this discussion.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So,
Well, hello people and welcome to thing.
indeed. Thank you very much for joining us. This should be an interesting one. So ever since that first stream I did covering obsession, which has been fucking haunting me ever since, uh, uh, I've been really curious about how a lot of these different YouTube movie reviewers actually go about rating movies in general, because there are certain
Hmm.
things that people focus on, like Vex has her criteria,
Hmm.
like rewatchability and themes that I wouldn't even consider. And so clearly there's a different methodology that we're taking to these things, different
Sure.
perspectives and approaches. And I am curious to see like what yours is, and basically how you apply them to stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's actually pretty good to establish with people is because one of the funniest things I see when like say when you're rating a movie and people in a chat or whatever, or people you're on a show with are hearing that rating, they're like, oh, why is your number this? I have it at this and everything. It's like,
Mm,
and we were saying so many of the same thing. It's like, well, because the number we might be applying might mean something different. It's like when somebody says, "Oh, why'd you give this movie, an 8 when it's really, a 10?" It's like, well, or why'd you give it an 8 when it's a great movie? And it's like, well, actually, to me, an 8 is a great movie.
yeah.
I see so many people give a 7 to a movie they call average, or a 6 to a movie they're like, oh, it's not very good. And I'm like, a 6 is a good rating. What are you talking about? It's like to me at least. So yeah, it's uh like
Yeah,
number
like
grades. I have adjectives that I attach to numbers because so
mm,
many like sites that you rate stuff on, like Criticalist, for example, which is the one I probably use the most. I they have a number system. I apply that, but I have in my bio what the numbers mean for me because I'm like the adjective I think is far more helpful.
mm,
And I try hard to emphasize, look, my number rating and my level of enjoyment are not the same thing. Those are completely separate things as far as I'm concerned. The rating to me is about, okay, I am trying to assess objectively what I think this movie is in terms of quality. And
mm,
yes, sometimes, some subjective elements are obviously going to factor in. I mean, I don't think you can rate everything in a movie objectively, but that's generally when I score something, I'm trying to be objective as much as possible. Whereas my enjoyment level may seem completely different. There are movies I would rate as bad that I would say I enjoy quite a lot. And not even necessarily ironically. It's just like, look, like when I watch Annihilation, I'm like, look, I enjoy watching Annihilation. I enjoy it for what it's going for. And I probably have to fill in a lot of mental gaps myself to make it work. But do I
mm.
think it's an objectively good film? No, I don't, because it's not an especially well told story. It has a lot of plot holes and plot issues, and its characters are kind of paper thin. But yeah, it's why it's a good conversation to have because not everybody has the same standards. Not everybody has emphasizes importance on the same things as other people.
Of course.
So
Yeah, because like earlier, just before we went live, we were discussing a bit of the Odyssey, and I would
mhm.
describe that as like the most expensive 5 out of 10 movie I've ever seen.
Yeah,
Versus,
it's it would definitely be up there for movies of that. Like I have a bit I obviously rated a bit lower. For me, 5 is a mediocre film. I have it
mm,
as sub mediocre, but I don't have many qualms with anybody calling it mediocre because I'm like that's close enough, and I can at least put myself in the headspace of somebody who maybe might put a little more emphasis on like production value or something. I've noticed that a lot. Most people, I think, put way more value on how a movie looks as
yeah,
opposed to like how the story is told. Where for me, writing and character are going to be like enormous for me. Like if you screw up writing and character, I might as well just tell you that it's for me. It's probably a bad film
I,
because those to me are the top qualities for a movie.
I agree completely. Like a lot of the superficial stuff is, you know, aesthetically pleasing, but it's very like superficial. Once you get
Yeah.
past that, there's nothing to really chew on.
Hmm.
But in comparison to something like the Odyssey, I've recently been going down a funky rabbit hole exploring really cheaply made movies by a guy named Bill Zabub,
Bill's a
and he,
Jeez,
yep,
what a name.
yep, he's a silly, silly man over in New Jersey, and he's got like 90 movies that he's made for the course of a couple years. They're
He has
all
a movie,
abs.
Night of the Pumpkin. Oh my gosh.
We'll have to do a movie night. That's gonna be amazing.
I'm not
But
watching his stuff. It looks terrible.
oh yeah, they are objectively like the best rating you can get is like a 2 or a 3 out of 10. They're absolute shit. But at the same time, like watching Dick Nato, I laughed so hard I fucking gagged.
Oh my gosh.
It is absolutely hilarious to me, and I have a genuine appreciation. At some
Yeah,
point, I'm going to try to get him.
he definitely looks like he's of a certain ilk. Lots of like cheap looking violence and sex is what I can tell from his posters for
Yep.
his movies. Like, okay, there you go.
As a,
Like not necessarily my cup of tea. Like I mean I can maybe imagine myself watching something of that sort once in a while with friends just to mess around, but
hmm.
not in my free time. There's enough great or interesting movies I have not seen that I need to, that it's like that's probably going to occupy my free time.
I agree. It's not for everybody.
It's like Bill Zabub is probably going to be low on my watch list.
but he made Jesus was an asshole.
Yeah, that's not good for someone like me. That's not a title I'm gonna be okay with. I'm like, dude, what's wrong with you?
Time traveling Jesus. Let's go.
But yeah, he's definitely
Okay.
he has his corner etched out, I suppose.
Indeed, that he does. But so yeah, back to rating systems in general. Like, what exactly do you consider whenever you're watching a film, and how did that lead you to believe that Amadeus was the best movie you've ever seen?
Well, for me, like I said earlier, like writing and character are going to be the primary elements, and particularly consistency. I don't mind absurd concepts at all. I quite like absurd concepts. I think most movies, generally speaking, have some level of absurdity, like what, and it can manifest itself into something as simple as like overt plot coincidence and plot convenience and stuff. Like a lot of movies will rely on that in some form or other. I mean, we have terms like Deus Ex Machina and things like that to kind of allude to those things. But to me, it's like it's all about how consistent how consistent are your characters, how consistent are the rules in your story. That's why it's like it irks me to no end when people talk about movies being entirely subjective, and I'm like, okay, hang on, let's, like Lord of the Rings, for example. It's like, okay, Lord of the Rings is a fantasy, so there's a fair amount of absurdity to Lord of the Rings. Obviously, there aren't people walking around doing elvish magic and stuff like that. However, there are very consistent rules that are applied in Lord of the Rings. So if Frodo at the when him and Sam reach the base of Mount Doom, if Frodo had ripped the ring off, put his fingers in it, pulled it apart, and taken a dump on it and destroyed it, we would have recognized that as bad, because that would have been wildly inconsistent with the established rules set up in earlier films. We would have been like, okay, I know this is fantasy, I know this is absurd, but that goes against everything you've told us leading up to this point. So don't tell me how good that moment is a subjective thing. It's like, no, that's an objectively retarded thing if they had done that, because that would betray everything that that you've seen up to this point, that you've been told up to this point, the rules that you've established.
Yeah,
and,
it'd be fucking absurd if you see a guy like chew the ring in half after seeing it shatter an axe that attempted to do the same thing.
Right. Yeah. It's like if you're going to, create a fantasy world of some point, or your, world's going to, like comedies to me are probably the hardest ones to judge, at least, certain comedies, because there are comedies that are just, like a movie like Airplane or Naked Gun, you almost have to throw the rule book out because the world itself is absurd. So so it's largely going to depend on if you think the movie is funny. So comedies tend to be highly subjective. They're very difficult to judge objectively. Now, that's not necessarily true of all comedies. I mean, you can also point to something
Well,
like Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead and be like, oh my gosh, those are immaculately written films and they're
well, yeah,
comedies.
like those are two entirely different things, though. Like the
Right.
quality of the writing in the plot versus the writing in the jokes.
Exactly.
Like
So I mean,
like
it's hard to
humor might be
comment.
subjective, but the plot structure is a bit more objective.
Well, I
And
mean,
stuff like
well, the
Hot
reason
Fuzz
I'm doing
absolutely
the
nails
yeah.
both.
Well, the reason for the contrast is something like Naked Gun or Airplane. It's like plot is going to be hard to judge in a movie that absurd because it's
Mm.
like you could almost write off any convenience as a joke. Uh, and it'd be hard to go against that because it's like somebody might find what comes off as a plot convenience genuinely hilarious. So it's like, what are you going to tell them at that point? It's like, well, it goes against the rules. It's like, what rules? It's like there doesn't seem to be any rules. So yeah, those can be hard to judge. So I tend to, shy away from like going all out and reviewing them. I tend to be like most people and just sort of feel those out. It's like, I mean, if you were to ask me, do I love Airplane? It's like, well, of course I love Airplane. Like, do you think it's a consistent story? It's like, it seems that way, but it's utterly absurd. I just know that anytime I watch it, I laugh my ass off. I think the jokes are really, really strong. I think the dialogue is really, really funny, but it's like, are the rules consistent? I mean, I guess it's consistently inconsistent, so sure. But generally speaking, in like most movies that are taking themselves, or at least trying to, be in earnest, something like Amadeus, you are going to look very, very much for character work. You're going to look for, you look at the dialogue. Does the dialogue match the person? Do their behaviors line up with, where they are at a particular part in the film? Which, by the way, the director's cut, part of my beef with it is I think some of the scenes, one in particular, pretty strongly goes against where Salieri is at that particular point in the film. I think it's a bad addition, and it's an addition I've seen a lot of people try to justify, which granted, I think part of the reason they're trying to justify is because it adds nudity to the movie, but
Oh,
I'm
nice.
like, it might, it's like, okay, it does that, but it doesn't really fit his character in that moment. And the justification is kind of where the movie's at the end. Mozart's wife's attitude towards Sally at the end, they're like, well, with that scene, that makes more sense. And I'm like, it makes perfect sense without it. What are you talking about? It's completely unnecessary. And I think that's kind of my big issue with all of the additional scenes in general is that they chalk on runtime that's completely unnecessary. And some of them change context in a way that I think is really negative. But also, of course, yes, I do think production value is a thing that, does matter because it helps with immersion. Having bad special effects can definitely take you outside of a movie. If you see something that looks really goofy and fake, or worse, if you can like see the stagehand who's operating it, or something funny like that. If like the boom mic comes in the change, like, oh, okay, that's not particularly good. That broke my immersion there for a sec.
Well, yeah, depending on the movie. Sometimes it's added in to be particularly funny. But
sure.
those are...
But I mean, obviously, talking more about movies that are not trying to do that, it's like, yeah, those can be problems, and of course, those should be taken into account. Obviously, like I do think music is like whether or not you like music, that's one thing, but how music is implemented into a film, I think, can be very important. Or the lack thereof. I think No Country for Old Men example uses basically zero music, and it's really effective. And I think that's a really good use of restraint there, where something like There Will Be Blood, which came out the same year, that has a very odd soundtrack, but man, it's effective. It is so good. Like if you watch There Will Be Blood in the sequence where the old Derek blows and like his son has been, basically had his eardrums blown out, the music that's playing over that sequence is it's absolutely excellent. It's so good. So things like that are going to, play a factor into maybe how I score something.
Compared to, again, like the
generally,
Odyssey,
like
which is just trying to blow out your eardrums every other half hour.
Yeah, really bad sound mixing in the Odyssey is a problem. I think the score is terrible. I really
can't remember
any
of the score.
Yeah, and it's I mean, like one of the most hilarious things about the score as compared to the most of the movie is the excuse for the score being what it is well, they wanted to go for authenticity. They didn't have orchestra back then, so we didn't want orchestra in our movie. It's like, well, funny enough, orchestra is a Greek word, but also
Yeah, I was
they
going to say they
didn't.
came up with the word.
It's
What are
like,
you
okay,
talking
you're
about?
going. It's like you're going for authenticity with the score, but you didn't go for authenticity with your cast or your armor. So
Mm,
it's like pick a lane. Either you're going to be authentic or you're not going to care that much about it.
yeah.
And what's funny is like, the music they use, it's like, I have a feeling they probably could have made much better music, even with the constraints they wanted to put on themselves. Music
Oh,
is just,
absolutely.
it's
Like
so
that's just a challenge
bland.
for that would
It's
just be a
so
challenge
bland.
for so many musicians. Like no, they would love a challenge like that.
Yeah. I mean, other factors would be like, how efficient the runtime is used. And it's not necessarily that all scenes have to be great contributors to the plot. Some scenes might feel superfluous to the plot, but they actually enhance the themes. Uh, some scenes that are inserted can just be entertaining, though I generally would say it'd be hard to find a good superfluous scene in a movie that probably isn't enhancing the theme in some way, shape, or form. Uh, but
Hmm.
I do think, the efficiency in which you tell your story is going to, I mean, if you have stuff in there that's just completely useless, that's utterly unnecessary, that just bloats your runtime, that can be a problem.
Now that
It's
actually leads me to an interesting question because, as I
sure,
mentioned
sure.
earlier, people like Vex actively consider themes when they're rating a film. But
I think that's fair. I would say for me, it's not so much what the theme is it being consistent with its themes? Because to me, it's like, I do think rating a movie on a thematic level is worthwhile. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do because obviously for the first and foremost, you have to spot the themes.
hmm,
And there can be, a film can actually have numerous ones that you're just not going to catch on your first viewing. But as you catch them, I do think it's fine to kind of adjust your score as you go. But the main thing you would want to look for is not what themes are present. That can obviously affect your enjoyment, what themes are present. But if you're trying to be objective, it's like, okay, how consistent is the application of this theme? Uh, is it trying to tell you this, but kind of going against it here and not realizing it's going against it, or is it being consistent about its themes? Which, by
well,
the way, the Odyssey I think is wildly inconsistent with its themes. There's a heavy emphasis on Zeus's law, but it seems like the Greeks are the only ones that are to blame for breaking it. When consistently other entities they encounter are breaking this law. Which, I mean, granted, the whole idea of like hospitality, kind of hospitality behavior is, that is present in the epic.
hmm,
So it's fine that he incorporated that. But like I said, he did it inconsistently, and worse yet, he focused on it so heavily that he forgot to write characters. He basically sacrificed character for the sake of, using that as just the primary story device, and he doesn't do it especially well.
yeah. But what I was going to say is like themes in general seem to be like an incidental after effect or quality of a story. Like if we were to think of it kind of like a meal or something, it would be like the aroma you get off of it. It's just
Yeah, I
not
think you
something.
can. Well, I think it is and it isn't. I think it would be the way I look at it is more as I don't require knowledge of the theme to judge the film necessarily. I think some movies, obviously, the theme is far more obvious than others. We did a discussion on Niet's channel about Batman Begins a few weeks ago, and they drive that theme home hard for the first 35 minutes, hearing the word fear uttered about 30 different times. It's really, really on the nose with theme. It's like, well, you really can't miss it in that movie. Uh, but yeah, it's one of those things where it's like you can divorce yourself from the thematic discussion and just judge the film itself. I think that's perfectly fine. I think that's fair. Um, but I do think most films are at least trying to convey some kind of theme, and I think if you're catching it, and that is something you want to judge in, how you judge an overall movie, I think that's perfectly fine.
Mm.
There's numerous themes in like the Lord of the Rings, for example,
Oh yeah.
that you could tackle, and you can go over which of those are applied consistently. I think you'd have a hard time finding ones that are applied inconsistently. Lord of the Rings is pretty freaking well written.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. I say 100%.
But
It's like the gold standard for everybody.
yeah, I mean, it's as far as trilogies goes, yeah, I mean, it's definitely I mean, it's a top tier fantasy trilogy. I mean, it's not my personal favorite film, but I mean, I mean, Fellowship of the Ring is probably in my top 5 or 10. So, and that's kind of the stand-in for the whole trilogy. But yeah, I don't necessarily need a thematic discussion of Lord of the Rings to talk about why I think it's an excellent movie. So I more or less agree with you on that.
Yeah, for sure. But normally, whenever I'm watching a film, I would generally try to consider just like the three big factors, like the performances, the cinematography, and the writing. If those are maxed out, they would be like if I was forced to give like a rating out of 10, I would give 3 points to each of those sections. And if I enjoyed it or not, I would give it an extra point.
Okay.
Very basic, rating system as far as I go.
I mean, for me, cinematography, I like when it's good. I don't need it to be. I mean, obviously, you want the shots to. I mean, well, okay. Let me clarify this because some people, when they think cinematography, they're thinking wide sweeping landscape shots. That's what I think when you say cinematography. 9 out of 10 people who watch movies now who are below the age of 30 think that's what you're talking about. It's like, no, cinematography is just basically what you see on screen.
Yeah, it's
like your shot composition. It's like, yes, I definitely think shot composition is that's important. It's obviously very important that you get that right. I don't know if I mean, I guess if it's one of those things where if you don't really notice it too badly or it's like if you don't notice it at all, you could almost argue that not noticing the shot composition is a good thing. Because generally when you notice shot composition, it's either something really stands out as great or it stands out as bad. But if you don't notice it at all, it's like it's probably good if you don't notice it at all. But
as it kind of layered into cinematography, I would throw in stuff like set design, where that's gonna be like those kind of overlap way too much to really distinguish between them. At least
like sets and costumes. That's all helping immersion, and I do think that's really important.
Exactly. So those are basically the big factors that I consider. Like stuff like themes and rewatchability, I don't even bring those into mind because something can be absolutely incredible as far as the writing goes, but due to whatever reason, like I would just never want to see it again.
For me, rewatchability, it is something I think about, but it's difficult to incorporate it into a score. I mean, maybe it could be like that extra few percentage points you might apply if you're trying to decide, is this a great film or is it a masterpiece? It could be something, maybe deciding that way. But there are a lot of movies I consider highly rewatchable that I don't consider even great. There are movies I would just say, like, I think The Mummy is a good movie and it's highly rewatchable. But just because it's highly rewatchable doesn't mean I think it's a great film. It's like, no, it's kind of a goofy movie that has plenty of its own problems and plot issues, and some of the effects are obviously dated, but it's a lot of fun. It's a really fun film that has high rewatchability. I've probably watched it 30 times in my life. But that doesn't make it great. It's just like, yeah, it's kind of a B movie classic, but it's a high budget B movie.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely amazing. Just seeing Brandon Fraser throw that chair.
Yeah, I mean, there's fun, charismatic characters. There's a fun little plot going on. It's super silly, but it seems to be embracing its silliness more than some other movies do. But it's like rewatchability. It's one of those things. It's like that's more of a factor, I would say, in whether or not I'm determining me calling a movie good so much as or calling a movie one that I like versus calling it good. Rewatchability is generally more of a subjective element.
Yeah.
Because like for some people, like, I mean, if you remember, I don't know how well you remember this Oscar race, but about a little more 10, 15 years ago, the best picture race was between Inception, The Social Network, and The King's Speech. And a lot of people, crapped on The King's Speech because they're like, Inception and Social Network, they're so much better. And, they're so much more rewatchable. And I'm like, I've probably rewatched all three about the same. I actually genuinely love The King's Speech. I mean, granted, if you want to say you like Inception or Social Network more, that's fine. I've rewatched those two a ton. I would probably say The Social Network probably is the best of the three, but I've never had any qualms with rewatching The King's Speech. I actually really, really enjoy that movie. I think it's a little bit more subdued than the other ones, and it's not as flashy, but I've always found that movie highly rewatchable.
Well, yeah, like flashy stuff, I can kind of go without. Like movies like Pressure, in comparison to something like Saving Private Ryan, there's virtually no action in Pressure up until the last 2% of the movie.
Mhm.
But it really drives home the stress that every single decision you make is going to have, and the the number of lives that are going to be lost if you make the wrong choice.
Are you referring to the newer movie with Brendan Fraser?
Correct.
Okay, just making
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, it was great. In
Okay,
fact,
cool.
yeah, highly recommend that to anybody with actual patience.
I have patience. I don't mind movies that take their time, so long as the payoff is good.
I mean, it's like last week I had a friend on Galliardo who you've streamed with Brawler on,
Mhm.
and I would never recommend Pressure to him. I don't think he'd last long at all.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because there's, yeah, I think, I mean, I'm not trying to crap too much on the younger generation, but I mean, it's like they're like the TikTok brain is kind of a thing,
Mm,
and it's, you know, like a lot of movies, like you feel like you have to grab these people's attention, or they're just not going to be engaged. And I'm like, that's really unfortunate, because there are movies that take their time. And to me, it's like calling something a slow burn is a little bit misleading if we're referring to a good one, because generally a movie that's a good slow burn is doing a lot of character work and setting up the plot really well and stuff. I actually really like a really strong slow burn, because it gives me time to kind of get to know, you know, who's involved in the story and what the story is. I actually really like that when it's done good. But
mm.
seems anymore these days, a lot of people don't have the patience for it. And I'm like, what is wrong with you people?
Oh, Blue says Amadeus is meh. Can't imagine if I would ever watch this awful film. I think I fell asleep like Nadia.
Yeah, he's mostly ragging on Naughty. That's actually we got Blue to watch that a few weeks ago, and yeah, it was me, him, and Goodwin, and he really enjoyed it, which is good.
Nice.
As one should, because Amadeus is an incredible film.
Yeah, it was fun to watch. And yeah, the character is definitely very consistent. It is a very yeah, the burn is quite slow with it, but it leads up to an interesting place. I was kind of
I don't
curious.
even know if I would say Amadeus burns slow, because there's a lot going on from the outset. I mean, granted, it's not. I mean, it's not an action movie, obviously, so it's almost all character drama. But I think it's establishing the drama pretty fast. It's obviously you're doing a whole lot with Salieri very early on. Uh, what's fun about Amadeus is, you know, we've been talking about this element of this aspect, this quality of judging movies by their themes and stuff like that. What I often tell people is what's great about Amadeus is that it's great to watch just at the surface level. You don't really have to ponder Amadeus to enjoy it. I mean, when I first saw it, I was like 17, and I wasn't pondering the themes of Amadeus. I just sat there at 17. I was like, oh my gosh, that was an amazing movie. Thank you, Last Action Hero, for recommending this. But I was really blown away with how great it was. And then, you know, I watched it more and more. And by about age 20, when I was starting to consider the themes and consider the depth of it and everything, I was just getting so much out of watching it, and still to this day, where I'm just like, yeah, it's a movie you can enjoy on pretty much any level. And I think about age 20 is when I was like, yeah, I think this is my favorite movie. And I'm like, I'm sure there are movies that, as far as like overall quality are concerned, are, I guess, more or less equal to it. I mean, there are obviously, there's more than one masterpiece out there, but when it comes down to naming a movie as your favorite movie, it is going to be personal. And yeah, Amadeus is just, it hits on every level for me. You know, it hits on a thematic level, it hits on a storytelling level, on a character level. It has the best it has the best usage of music I have ever seen in a movie. It literally changed my taste in music.
Nice.
It's that movie is absolutely unbelievable, and I enjoy watching it every single time. It just is just utterly enrapturing, and
And
there's not many that come close to it.
And speaking of the music, I thought it was interesting. While I was watching it, I could have sworn that this was one of those rare films where the music actually inspired the writing and the
Oh,
overall
definitely.
course of the plot.
Oh, it
Which
has a
was
huge effect on the writing. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, and I just thought that was really interesting because most people are going to most like just about everybody's alive has heard Mozart at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But most people wouldn't actively consider it like how you would link those together to form a story.
Yeah, and that's yeah, and that becomes one of the like I remember watching it the first time and not really knowing what it was about. Like obviously knew it was about Mozart, and I remember like okay, so the way I found out about Amadeus was like I said, Last Action Hero. Uh, the little kid is warning Arnold Schwarzenegger about F. Murray Abraham. He's like, "Hey, be careful! He killed Mozart." And he's like, "What in a movie?" And he's like, "Amadeus, it won 8 Oscars." And I'm like, "Okay, so it's about Mozart and somebody kills him." Okay, that's all I knew going in. Really was apparently that's what it's about. And so I sit there and watch it, and he's an old man and he's begging forgiveness for he's calling himself Mozart's assassin, and then he's trying to demonstrate to the priests these various pieces of music that he's written, and he gets to the one from the Magic Flute that everybody recognizes.
Mm-hmm.
And I was almost kind of like the priest. It's like, you wrote that, but I kind of caught on a little bit faster. I was like, wait a minute, there's no way that's him. That's going to be Mozart. And he's like, I didn't know you wrote that. He's like, I didn't. That was Mozart. And it's like, oh, okay, so this is about envy. It's like it's giving that to you right there. And even one of my favorite touches of F. Murray Abraham's performance, and it very well could be directed. So kudos to Milos Forman, either for keeping it in and or directing Abraham to do this. But when he says that was Mozart, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, and that's the only time Amadeus is uttered in the film, and he looks up when he says it. And before I knew what Amadeus meant, I noted that mentally. I was like, okay, why did he look up towards God when he said Amadeus? Well, then because I was like, I know the word Deus, that means God. So what does Amadeus mean? And you looked up, it means loved by God. I was like, okay, that's why this is, and over the course of the movie, I was like, oh, so that's why this is called Amadeus, is because this is about a man being angry with God because of who he chose as his beloved. And I'm like, oh, okay, so this is interesting. All right. So that was kind of, for my second viewing, I was like, okay, so this is the thematic element I get to dive into. But yeah, there's so many excellent little touches like that. There's you could analyze like every scene of that movie and just extract stuff out of it. It's so rich.
Nice. Yeah, I love the little details that help build up all the different components of a story. Like I didn't even consider his middle name because I've heard it so many times. I just never thought about it.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, you almost want, is it just like an artistic flourish to call it Amadeus? But then when you actually look up what it means and you consider what the movie's about, you're like, oh, that's why it's called what it's called, is because Mozart is the one who's loved by God, and Salieri, in his view, is the one hated by God. Which that's kind of the fun irony to analyze in the movie is Salieri's not hated by God in the movie. It's Salieri doesn't appreciate what he's given and grows to hate God for not getting not being what Mozart is. He thinks he's earned it. He thinks he deserves to be that. And it's like,
yeah,
that's not what you asked for, dude. Like, that's kind of the funny thing is pretty much everything Salieri asked for, he got. It's just, and that's kind of what's funny about, you brought up the obsession discussion. I'm like, oh, there's kind of a similar careful what you wish for here, because it's like he has to be a great composer. He has to be celebrated, for, people to love him, to celebrate God's glory and everything. It's like he pretty much got everything he asked for there. It's just he couldn't cope with the fact that God gave this, even better gifts to somebody who wasn't exactly all that reverent. So.
Well, yeah, like he equated a lot of his success to his piety, like his dedication and his abstinence from certain behaviors that Mozart definitely embraced, like wholeheartedly. And so you get not just the jealousy of this guy's better than me, like it's just that
this guy's better than me.
This fucking guy.
Because he knows from an early age who Mozart is. He knows, and he even knows, like, I think what's so fascinating about his first meeting with Mozart is he kind of knows going in that Mozart's a better musician. Like he's already heard of him. He's heard of him since he was a kid, and he's literally playing a game with him. He's like, his talent like that written on the face. So it's not that he necessarily minds having a superior. It's that this guy is my superior. This, body, vile, vulgar little
This
creature is
this
better than
absolute
me. And
buffoon.
it's like, no, 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 no. It's like I gave all of this to be what I am. It's like he's just born with it. That's not fair. The creature, exactly.
Well, that's actually one of the things I think really that's what gave Mozart the edge. Is like Salieri's very prim proper. He's very kind of stuck in his ways, but Mozart is a lot more dynamic, a lot more spontaneous, and that natural creativity in the moment that he's always embracing, like that would give him the edge when it comes to creating unique work.
Well, it's
Where
also what's interesting is the fact that at least I mean, and again, we're talking in movie terms. So obviously, this isn't telling the story as truthful necessarily, but the movie removes Salieri's father to give him his opportunity, whereas Mozart is raised under a very rigid father who is basically, his music is very much done, at the spurring of his dad, and it's a very strict discipline, but he also has a genuine love for it, and he is really, really good at it.
yeah.
I mean, he's an extreme, like, it's kind of the interesting thing about the movie you chose versus the movie I chose. So they're both about, highly intelligent kind of savants and prodigies. It's like one's a musical prodigy. The one you chose is about a math prodigy.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously the way the stories are told is very different, but yeah, it creates this really fascinating dynamic between him and Salieri, because you have this, a lot of people have called it sort of a Cain and Abel story, and I'm like, there's elements of kind of the Cain and Abel dynamic here,
A bit,
but it's much more just a man versus God dynamic, because that's who Salieri ultimately blames. Like one of the interesting things as the story progresses is that Salieri's hatred for Mozart kind of decreases. He's obviously, he's persistently furious with God about, the arrangement, but it's hard for him to actually hate Mozart the more he gets to know. It's like, yes, he's trying to screw him over at every turn, but, oh gosh, one of the most tragic scenes is near the end where Mozart's literally apologizing to him. And it's like, oh, if you only knew what was happening in this moment. It's so sad because it's like Mozart is, as rotten a little weasel as he can be. He knows what he is. He's aware of what he is. Like, my favorite line in the movie is when he's desperately trying to get the emperor to agree to let him do the marriage of Figaro. And Salieri, who's not present because he doesn't want to give away the fact that he's the one who, gave the information that he was composing this in the first place. Mozart says, forgive me, I'm a vulgar man, but I assure you my music is not. He's confessing everything that Salieri thinks about him. Salieri's not there to hear it. I've always found that fascinating. He's literally admitting what he is. He's like, I'm vulgar. It's like all these opinions people have of my behavior are true. I'm definitely that. But the music isn't vulgar. He even seems to recognize this gift is from God.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, he loves the credit for it, sure, but it's like he kind of seems to realize there's sort of a divine quality to what I do that I maybe don't deserve, but it is what it is.
Well, like when I was watching the film, it seemed like Salieri is absolutely awestruck by Mozart's work. Like there's a bit where Mozart's wife is showing him some of his original stuff, and he's like, he didn't even like correct anything. He just wrote this once.
Oh yeah, it's become a meme now, which I love. I love seeing Mozart now as a meme. That whole thing with Salieri kind of dropping the music because it's so perfect. I love that that's become a meme online.
Yeah, but like, so as I was watching, like, he gives me this impression like he's trying to smother like the flame of a candle that's particularly beautiful, but he knows that if he put it out, then it would be gone. So it's just like, I fucking hate this thing, but God damn it, it's fucking.
Well, yeah, because he worships. Yeah, it's like he hates the person who God is using as an instrument, but he can't deny how much he adores the music. I mean, even he brings up, through my influence, I ensured that Don Giovanni was only shown 5 times in Vienna, but in secret, I went to every one of those 5, worshiping the sound, because it's like and that's the interesting thing is he does indeed have a gift from God. Because I mean, the interesting thing is you notice nobody else seems to recognize just how talented Mozart is. Nobody else really like Mozart is listening to his music and he's like, this is going to last forever. He knows immediately this is better than anything anyone else, myself included, is doing. Whereas people like the emperor and the director, they hear his latest opera and they think, oh, it's the best opera yet written. But Salieri is just like, I need his approval. I need Mozart's approval. That's the only approval that would actually mean anything, because he's like, that's only true if he says it. And sure enough, when he asks, he goes, did my music please you? He is only able to muster a backhanded compliment. He's like, I didn't know that music like that was possible. And it's like, oh. And Salieri takes it in stride in the moment, but deep down he's like, damn it. It's like,
that was a great scene.
It's like the emperor's word. It's because it's almost like Salieri is like the Michael Bay of his time, where he's making stuff that is very crowd pleasing and gets the people up in their seats. But Mozart, is like the John Ford, the Akira Kurosawa, the person who's making masterpieces that people are going to be talking about forever. It's like, and even if they don't notice it in the moment, they're not going to be able to actually stop talking about it. And that's what he recognizes, which it is a gift, and he never fully embraces it. And that's kind of one of the great tragedies of the movie.
Yeah, actually, I think I got it right here. One moment.
By the way, what is this backdrop? Is that Princess Bride?
Correct.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's a bit of an inside joke.
I never knew that the music like that was possible.
It's so poor. So he's like, oh, you flatter me. He's like, he kind of knows what he's like. That's not actually a compliment. And it's not even that Mozart's trying to be mean. It's just he's honest about music. He's not. Yeah. It's like he doesn't have really the ability to lie about it. And it might not even be that he dislikes the music. It might just be that, you could interpret. Granted, this is going to come down to interpretation because it's not true to life necessarily. Salieri was a good composer.
Yeah, he was teaching.
Very high. He was very highly
tutoring the emperor.
Right.
You can't get higher than that, really.
Yeah.
At least until Mozart comes along.
So it's like you could interpret this as Mozart's like, it's fine. It's pretty standard stuff. Like, I could write this. He's not impressed by it because he's just like, this is nothing. I could do this, no trouble whatsoever. This is just stuff for the crowd. It's not new. He puts a lot of emphasis on things being new. Which I always thought that was an interesting character choice because it almost feels like a godly thing. Because there's verses in scripture which allude to God promising all things to be forever new for those who serve him and everything. And it's almost like Mozart has like a little hint of that quality in his music, because the best compliment he gets is when Emperor Joseph says, "You've shown us something quite new this evening," and that excites him. He's like, "Yes, it is. Exactly. It's new." And that's what he's telling the emperor when he's trying to sell like the Marriage of Figaro. Is like, what I'm doing is new. It's never been done before. So when he hears Salieri's opera, he's probably thinking something along the lines of, I've heard this kind of thing before. It's fine, but what do you want me to say? It's like, I can't call this amazing like everyone else is, because I've been there, done that. We've seen all this before.
Yeah. Like this guy, he's absolutely insane. Like this scene here where he's showing off, really.
Which, credit to Tom Hulce's performance, because he learned. Even though obviously this the music they're playing over the scene is was done in a studio apart from it, but from my understanding of they've asked other musicians like, is he playing the right keys and scenes like this? They're like, yeah, he's playing all the right keys. And it's like, that's impressive. It's really impressive. Tom Hulce came from doing movies like Animal House. This was not in his typical wheelhouse before or after. He's absolutely magnificent in this movie as Mozart, and it's odd that it's only the second best performance in the movie, because just F. Murray Abraham is just absolutely nailing it. It's my favorite performance of all time.
No. But scenes like this where Salieri gets like a real insight into how he actually feels.
Well, it's because it's weird, because it starts when he's like, that's a challenge, and it's almost like that sounds like a compliment. He's like, oh, okay, my music's a challenge, but he mocks him. He's like,
Yeah.
oh.
Where he starts throwing on that silly face.
And this is what's interesting also, is he looks, he goes, this isn't Mozart mocking me. This is God laughing at me. This is God mocking me.
Yeah. Nice. Plucking away at it like a chimp. And that ending note of flatulence.
Yeah.
Just an extra shit-covered cherry on top of this little
Pretty much,
insult.
yeah. He's like, up, great music, full of hot air. I mean,
Right.
and he's just doing this to him at every turn. It's like even when Salieri's kind of on his side, like when he's complaining about only getting 9 performances for Figaro, and he's like, why didn't they like it? Salieri he gives him some advice, to play the crowd, and he can't help himself. He's just like, I know, maybe you could give me some lessons in that, like as if you could actually teach me a thing. And it's like, wow, Salieri is on your side, but it's like you just can't help but be dismissive of other musicians.
Yeah. Well, now he has that real like natural inborn, like it's not necessarily like a sense of superiority. At least,
I mean, he's had it reinforced. I mean, he knows he's good. I mean, he has the ear to know what good music sounds like. He's been exposed to music since he was a kid, and he's been composing music since, for a long time, from a very young age. So it's just, he knows what good music sounds like. And he knows that he's better at putting it out than anybody, because I mean, he can compare it.
Which is probably why he doesn't take on any he doesn't do any like tutoring jobs, and why he's always struggling for
except in the stupid director's cut. The director's cut adds a scene where he does okay, so if you recall, Emperor Joseph goes to Salieri and is talking about getting a tutor for what is it, his niece, I think it is.
Oh yeah.
And at first, Salieri thinks he's talking about him, but he goes, actually, I was thinking about Mozart. Well, they have a follow-up scene later in the movie where Mozart goes to her home to teach her, and it's such a bad scene. Like, as far as like the construction of the scene goes, it would have, if kept in the movie, it's the worst scene, because it feels like it's straight up out of a bad comedy, and it does not fit the tone of the movie, because like the dogs are constantly like interrupting his efforts, and the family is like hyper focused on the dogs, and they our dog's so cute and everything. It's almost like he visited like the Viennese version of Alabama or something, and went to like a Viennese redneck family who really likes their dogs, and he's just getting progressively annoyed. It's such a dumb scene. I was like, ugh, I'm glad this scene got cut. It's so bad. And the sad thing is, they call it, like Warner Brothers calls it the director's cut. It's not the director's cut. Milos Forman never approved it. He was like, no, I prefer the version that is my cut is the one that won all the Oscars. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's bizarre to me that that this 3-hour version is pretty much the only one I could fucking find. I had to go out and buy the 4K for the theatrical cut.
It's I don't know if you recall this, but back there was a period for probably about halfway through the distribution of DVDs or so where it was a common thing to have like full screen and widescreen, regular cut and director's cut. So that was a big thing when DVDs were a thing. So Amadeus initially got released on DVD just as the regular theatrical version. I have that DVD. I have 2 copies of that DVD, funny enough. But then when like the director's cut thing became a really big thing, they were like, well, there's some additional scenes in this movie that we could tack on there, and we could call it the Amadeus director's cut. And we put in a little, little fancy box and call this the director's cut. And so they did that, and Warner Brothers being Warner Brothers, they're very lazy about their transfers. So when Blu-ray came along, they didn't bother to make the other edition available. They were just like, yeah, just take the director's cut. That sounds better. People, because generally speaking, people do prefer director's cuts. They like more, because generally speaking, they think, oh, well, more is good. But yeah, so they for years did not bother with the theatrical cut in HD, which was really, really annoying. And it was people like myself who, spoke up long enough and loud enough saying the theatrical cut's better. Please put the theatrical cut out. That's the version we want in HD, not not the crappy director's cut. There was enough backlash over time where I think they finally took a hint, and it got restored in 4K, thankfully, just the theatrical. And now, like, that's the fun bit of it. It's like, before this, whoever Warner Brothers ultimately merges with, I'm like, thank God we got 4K, the 4K theatrical cut out before any screwy went on there. Like, if they go to Netflix and now everything, if there's a streaming, it's like, we may never see a Warner Brothers physical release again. It's like, thank God I got my physical release of the Amadeus theatrical cut when I did, because yeah, I was getting to a point where I was like, are we just never going to get an HD version of the theatrical cut? Because that'd be a tragedy.
Yeah, it'd be absurd.
Because the director's cut, granted, I don't dislike the director's cut. It's just, well, it's soiling a perfect, what I view as a perfect movie. And it's like, this is my favorite movie of all time. If I'm going to watch it, I'm going to watch the right version. But it'd be nice to get a better looking, version of it. But I'll just refuse to put it out. I swear, when they announced that they were finally putting the theatrical one on 4K, I was giddy. I had that pre-ordered, like the day it was available for pre-order. I had it pre-ordered.
Nice. Yeah. From what I'm hearing of folks when it comes to like their rating for both of them, apparently the director's cut is like a 9 out of 10 versus the theatrical cut, which is like a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm more or less about the same. Like I said, I don't like the scenes that they add for the most part. I'm trying to think of the one. There's one they have that I'm more or less okay with. I don't think it's necessary, but I'm trying to think of what that one is. But it doesn't like kill the movie or anything. It's just like, there's one aspect of the movie I do think it hurts genuinely. And like I said, it's the scene where after, to set it up. Okay, so after Mozart's wife comes with all the music to try to get the job for her husband, Salieri sees all of this, and he drops all of the music on the ground. He's just overwhelmed with how amazing it is. But rather than leaving the room and burning, the cross in his room and all that, and kind of turning against God in that moment, instead he encourages her to meet him later that night for an affair. Like, well, if you want this position for your husband, you have to do a favor for me. And I'm like, that to me does not fit his character well at all, particularly at that point of the movie. He's only just now turning, and he's going to take, and he's been chased his entire life. So he's just, boom, he's just going to do that right away. And I'm like, and there's a lot of entailed danger to doing that. It's like, if this gets out, this could be a really bad thing. It's like, wow, that's a step too far, too fast.
Agreed.
And ultimately what happens is, when she goes to the room, it's like she obliges, which I didn't like that either. I don't like that she obliges in this at all. And then she she takes her top off, and then Salieri basically rings his bell, and his servant comes in. He's like, see this woman out. Like she wasn't supposed to do this, and just humiliates her. And it's like, and she never tells Mozart or anything like that. And I'm like, boy, this is not a good scene. And some people are like, well, but at the end, when she, shows like genuine like hatred for Salieri, it's like, doesn't that make it make more sense? And I'm like, I don't think you need that to make it make sense. Why? It's like, okay, cut that scene out. In context, why does she hate him? Because she brought his music. She knows he thought it was amazing, and he didn't help them anyway. It's like, that is more than enough reason for her to have a consistent anger. Plus, she kind of gives it away when she says, I'm sorry, we don't have any servants to see you out. She's figured out that he's the one who hired Cynthia Nixon's character, the maid, and figures, oh, you just brought her in to spy on him, didn't you? Like, she sees through that. So it's like, she's plenty of reason to hate him without that dumb scene.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really don't like the addition of that. But most people, I think, defend it on the grounds of boobs. That's why they defend it. Like, what shows her boobs? And I'm like,
well,
so
to be fair, it's one thing I definitely noticed throughout the whole film. Like, she's got some tiggle bitties, and goddamn,
she does. I mean, she is a nice, shapely woman. I'm not denying that. She's well endowed, but
I was gonna say, that course
I don't necessarily need the scene in the movie. It's like, I don't necessarily need an additional scene in the movie. It's like it doesn't require that.
Nah, it's completely unnecessary. But like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that scene. Scene irks me because it's been defended ad nauseum, and I'm like, stop defending this stupid ass scene. It's not a good scene. It hurts the movie.
Yeah, well, like, as you said, like, it doesn't fit in with his character at all. He's been pious his whole fucking life, and irrelevant of his standing with God, I don't think that relationship change would be enough to change his habits. At least not
Yeah.
that much.
Yeah, it's like you're taking it, like I said, it's too far too soon. And they try to justify it with other stuff. Like they extend the scene where he's, what's funny is like they extend the scene where he finds out that the singer who he has a thing for has slept with Mozart. They draw that out a little bit more. Like they show Salieri backstage with her, and a little bit more back and forth with them. And he narrates in both versions. He goes, "At that moment, I knew that he had her. He had my darling girl." Well, in the theatrical cut, he says it right after she slams the roses in his chest. I'm like, yeah, that would be the moment you'd know. But in the director's cut, they don't have him say that until after the entire exchange. And I'm like,
what?
That kind of makes him seem stupid, because like
yeah.
he would know at the moment that she slammed the roses. So it's like, that's not good. It's like, you've kind of hurt that scene too. But yeah, most all of the additions are completely unnecessary. I'm like, Milos Forman was right to cut what he cut. I mean, he was smart about the cuts he made.
Yeah, for sure. God, now I'm glad I definitely have I'm definitely glad that I have the 4K over here in my collection and not anything else. Good times.
Exactly, Goodwin. And that's like the additional scenes, like you're damaging two integral characters with these additions. It's absolutely silly. Warner Brothers.
And back then,
freaking Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
I hate that some of my favorite movies come from them, because like that they annoy me to no end. But I can't. It's like two or three. I think my top 3 favorite movies all came from Warner Brothers, and a lot of other ones too.
Yeah, they've been fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
And out of curiosity, what are those other favorite movies of yours?
My number 2 is Blade Runner. I absolutely adore Blade Runner. And Blade Runner is a flawed masterpiece. Like, that's not even a movie I would necessarily give a 10 out of 10. I enjoy it like a 10 out of 10. I do think it's a masterpiece, but they're exactly good. Like,
suppose that is.
It's a cut that has most everything that the final cut does, but it cuts the stupid unicorn dream out, because the unicorn dream really so Ridley Scott is a retard who wants to explain his story too much. He doesn't understand the value of ambiguity. I was actually having a discussion this weekend about why the ambiguity of The Thing works so well. It has made that movie just a great conversation piece for 40 years. And part of the reason is because John Carpenter's like, I'm not telling you who the Thing is at the end, or even if either, Childs or McCready is the Thing. Why would I tell you that? I mean, he understands that it's valuable to let that discussion just live. And similarly, Blade Runner, for a long time, a similar discussion was available to have that, is Deckard a replicant? Is he not? But now, granted, this one I think has a much clearer answer of what should be the case. Deckard should be a human. That's what makes the themes of Blade Runner work. I don't necessarily mind there being a semblance of ambiguity to that, because I think, blurring those lines, I think, does help the themes. But I do think there is a relatively clear answer if you want those themes to work. Ridley Scott, in his vast retardation, decided no, he's a replicant, and we're going to add this unicorn dream. That way, when he gets the origami unicorn, it's not just an indication that Edward James Olmos's character has been there and that he's taking mercy on them. But no, the unicorn now has extra context, because now it's like, oh no, I know you're a replicant because I know of the unicorn dream. And basically, if you want to hold on to Deckard being a human, you basically have to decide in your head that we'll just call it a fantastic coincidence that he happened to leave a piece of origami that mirrors this very specific dream. So it's super annoying. It's like, I do think the final cut. I genuinely love all of it except that stupid unicorn dream. It's like, why would you put that in there? It's like you're forcing me to headcanon the dream out. Why did you do that? That's so stupid. Because the themes just don't work very well. If Deckard's not human, the story doesn't work as well. It's not half as interesting. Part of what makes that story interesting is, on a thematic level, is this idea of what does it mean to be human? Well, you kind of need the contrast of there being a human to put up again, put up side by side with a replicant. If it's just two replicants, and the question is far less interesting and it's far less relevant, it's like, well, they're both replicants, so whatever. But yeah, it's Ridley Scott. He's such an idiot.
Here's a good question for you.
Monologue narrate of the new release. Well, that wasn't really new. That was the monologue. The narration by Deckard that's from the old version. And I don't particularly like the narration. I think the movie could have done the narration thing if it had been written well, and if like Harrison Ford, you can very much tell is completely uninvested. So part of the fault does lie on him for at least not giving a performance during that narration. It doesn't help that he is overtly disinterested, but I can at least understand why he was bothered by it, because the narration scenes that they wrote are not good. You don't need the narration at all. You just don't need it.
Yeah. Cool deal. But yeah. Let's see.
No, the Ridley Scott's final cut is the most recent edition. That is the most recent edition, and it has no narration. Narration is from the original. I'm answering Bino Simp in the chat. Yeah, the narration is from the old version. That's the one that was originally released in theaters. Was the one with narration. Yeah, exactly. Like they brought in a bad writer for the narration. Yeah, narration is the old. That's from the oldest version. Like to Ridley Scott's credit, he was wise enough to cut the narration out. But because like the narration, I'm pretty sure like that was more like the studio's idea, because they were like, we're not sure people are going to understand what's going on, and they wisely were like, no, the people are going to be able to understand this fine. And really and truly, I don't know why they thought that, because the plot is not exactly complex. It's the themes that are interesting and complex. The story is relatively straightforward. But yeah, it's like the addition of the narration just it doesn't really help. How many versions are there? Like 6 or 7. There's like 6 or 7 cuts. Like literally, you can I own the 4K edition that has all the cuts.
Yeah, that's wild. It's like
the narration works if you count. Yeah, if you think of it as film noir, but it's like you could have made it work if it had been written well, because it would have fit like the film noir genre. But you have to write it well. It has to be performed well, and it was neither.
God.
And the third movie out of that top 3 is actually The Fugitive, which I don't necessarily consider a great movie. It's like the most rewatchable movie for me for some reason. I have watched that movie probably 200 times. I've watched it so many times. It's such an easy movie to put on and sit through. It's so freaking entertaining. I love Tommy Lee Jones's performance. I think it's one of Harrison Ford's best performances. It's a great, like, mostly physical performance. He doesn't have a ton of dialogue in it, but so most of what he's conveying he's doing through physicality, and he's doing a really good job of it.
Yeah, yes, God. It's been a while since I've seen that. But back to how many versions of fucking Blade Runner exist. It's gotta be kind of wild when you're trying to talk with somebody about, like, yeah, I'm a big fan of Blade Runner, but which one?
Mm-hmm. That is true, Goodwin. He does manage to silence a black woman by just telling her to shut up. Shut up. It's the best shut up in movie history.
He's achieved the impossible. He made
He did it. Honestly, it could have been any woman. It would have been great. But but yeah, with Blade Runner, anytime you're going to have a discussion of it, you have to iron out. It's like, which cut are we talking about? Are we talking about the director's cut, the final cut? Those are separate things. We're talking about the original cut. Are we talking about the international cuts? Like, I don't even know what all of them are called. I know like what 4 or 5 of them are called off the top of my head, but it's like, gosh, that's so bizarre.
That is funky. I'll have to inform Brawler in case he ever decides to cover that one.
That's true.
Which one are you talking about?
It's like, make sure you iron out which one you're going to cover, because there ain't 1 or 2 versions.
God, unnecessary silliness. So, out of curiosity, like, how do you feel in general about the ending to Amadeus?
Oh, I think the ending it's tragic as hell, but I guess like it partially is going to depend on at what point are you saying the ending is starting, like from what point to what point, because you could boil it down to just the final scene with the priest, or you could add up all the way back to when he starts, writing the music down. So it kind of depends on where.
Oh, it's kind of the transition from after Mozart dies to him being locked up in an asylum.
Okay, yeah.
Now,
I mean, I
that's
love it. I
that
think it's great. I mean, yeah, it's
doesn't
I mean,
strike you as
obviously,
bizarre that like 3 decades have passed for him, obviously?
no, not at all. I mean, it's what he's recounting from a time past. And he's giving. I mean, it's like in the cinematic, in the story sense, what he's doing is he's capping off the thing he's going to be remembered for. In the
Mm.
view of the film, in the view of this version of the universe, uh, he wanted to be remembered for music, and instead is going to be remembered as or at least potentially be remembered as the person who killed Salier, which there's some truth to that. That's the story is based on a long-standing rumor. Now the rumor is almost certainly not true, but that's what they're playing off of is this idea that Salieri might have been the one who killed Mozart. Because Mozart, died at a very young age, so
Mm.
that is naturally going to strike up some theories about how that would have happened. But yeah,
Oh.
and the way it caps off with hearing Mozart's laugh, which if you think back to the film, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
what did Salieri say when he was laughing after he plays music? Because that wasn't Mozart laughing, that was God laughing at me. So in essence, God is getting the last laugh on Salieri as it fades to black. It's a really nice bit of cinematic poetry.
Ah, interesting. I didn't even I didn't even consider that to be God laughing. I just thought that was a funky note to end on. His laugh is obnoxious.
Oh yeah, it's basically. I mean, and there's a little bit of there's letters you might that like people wrote about Mozart that suggested that he had an odd laugh.
Hmm.
Or one that sounded kind of childish or whatever. So there might be some truth to it. I mean, but yeah, it's like it works in the film really, really well because it just adds to that idea that Salieri sees him as a creature rather than a person because he laughs
Hmm.
like a little hyena, and it's a mocking, childish laugh, and it's
Yeah.
very like in your face kind of thing. It's like it just is something that you could see grating on somebody who's jealous of him.
Hmm. It's very well put together.
Yeah, that's why it's like a lot of the criticisms that I see for the Odyssey that annoy me are the people who are saying, "Oh, why are they speaking in English with kind of Americanized accents or whatever?" I'm like, that doesn't bother me at all. That's not the
Yeah, that's
problem
fine.
with the movie. And it's like that. I mean, 'cause this movie does it. It's like if I'm gonna have a problem with that in that movie, I've got to have a problem with it in this movie. Now, granted, how you implement that is going to matter, of course. But I was like, no, the problem with I mean, because this movie obviously has them speaking in their normal accents, but the dialogue does it more or less sounds true to the period.
Hmm.
The way the people talk in this movie while they're
Yeah,
talking in English, it doesn't sound anachronistic in the sense that they're saying stuff like cool and that's hip, but they're not saying words that don't fit.
tubular,
Which
dude.
right. It's like that's not what they're doing. Whereas in the Odyssey, that is what they're doing. That's why it doesn't work in that movie.
Nah, God. The Odyssey's just a fucking mess, man. So,
Good one. It always humbles me to think that when Mozart was my age, he had been dead for 20 years. I mean, pretty much, yeah.
yeah, like, that dude started quick. Like, no, very early on, they show you he's been playing fucking concert piano since he was 6.
4.
Damn.
Yeah, it's because he wrote the way Salieri puts it, he wrote his first concerto at the age of 4, full scale opera at 12. Yeah, it's like and I don't know exactly if that's true. I know he did start at a really young age. I don't know if 4 is the age, but it was very, very young when he started.
Yeah, God, that poor kid. His dad was just shuffling him around everywhere. Makes you feel like we all know about.
I don't know how much he would have enjoyed. I mean, it's like it probably wouldn't. It probably would have been difficult, but he seems to at least embraced it. So it's like he must have enjoyed it at least to some degree.
I suppose, but yeah, his story is absolutely wild, whether it be in the movie or in real life. Like the more you learn, the more bizarre it gets.
Yeah, it's like he obviously, like he's not necessarily like the greatest composer who ever lived or anything, but because obviously he just doesn't have the body of work that somebody like a Beethoven or a Bach or someone like that. But you can't help but wonder. It's like, man, what if he lived to like 60 or 70? How much more would he have done? How much more would he have innovated? How far could he have gone? It's It's one of those
That's it.
things you kind of can't help but ponder is what would his, what would be the body of his music if he had actually been able to finish more of it.
Oh yeah, like I just think about his relationship with Ben Franklin. Like Ben Franklin was inventing instruments that he was composing music for. Like,
Yeah,
just that relationship alone would be worth exploring. Like,
these
give it
damn
an extra 20
Freemasons,
years.
they're all in it together. They're all
Right.
that's how it was. It's like, I'll invent it, you play on it.
Right. Then now he created something called the glass harmonica.
Mhm.
Are you familiar with that?
I think I've heard of it. I don't know much about it though.
So you know that classic like wine glass trick where you wet your finger and run it over the rim of the glass?
Yeah.
Imagine a
The ladies
succession.
love it.
Yep. Imagine a succession of glasses all seated into each other of varying sizes and kind of arranged horizontally in a small pool of oil.
Mm.
And yeah,
I'm looking at
So
a
you can-
picture of it now. It's like that's pretty cool.
yeah, it's a
That's
funky
neat
little
looking.
instrument.
It
Right.
is.
Yeah, but at the
You don't
time,
see a lot of glass harmonicists out there, if that's
Nah.
what they're called.
no, I imagine it's a very fragile instrument,
Yeah, probably.
and they're fucking expensive.
Yeah, it's like if you're gonna play the glass harmonica, you better not have kids or dogs.
No, or cats.
Probably not. Yeah, not cats either, because I mean they'll probably just try to knock it over. I mean,
Yeah.
granted, I don't know. It looks kind of heavy, so they might not be able to. A dog's gonna take that thing out with ease.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure a cat will find a way. They'll find a way to knock it over.
honey, I'm home. It exploded. What the fuck? You tip the or they'll tip like a fucking candle over the oil or something. They will find a way.
Yeah,
Cats are fucking evil.
I love cats, but they.
Didn't say they weren't lovable.
They're all together. It's like they're definitely mischievous, but
Yeah, like
I like them a lot. I like cats.
Yeah, like I was petting one earlier today. As soon as I turned away from it, it swiped my hand.
Yeah, that's what they do. They're like, hey, look at me. Look at me when you're petting me.
Don't you look away with me, you bitch.
Like, no.
Oh, eye contact. Yeah.
All right. So what about this other movie? This
So-
gifted movie? So
so,
one thing I was curious about right out of the gate was, so is this your top favorite movie? Is it just one of your favorites? Like, where does this sit on your
Yeah, this
personal
is
pantheon?
my personal favorite movie. I absolutely love every single thing about it from start to finish. I love the character work, subject matter, relationships. It makes me think about my relationship with my niece, which is the exact dynamic that Chris Evans has with McKenna Grace.
Mhm.
It touches on a lot of subjects that I absolutely adore. Like recently, my personal life, I taught my niece how to do factorials because I'm a fucking math nerd. And like, you can do your plus and minuses. We're going to get you ahead of the curve.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
I was like, so this was my first watch of it. I
Yeah.
knew
What'd you think?
I knew a little bit about it going. I knew it was obviously about a gifted child and all that,
Mm-hmm.
but I knew that Chris Evans wasn't playing her dad. That's about all I knew going in. But overall, I liked it. Thought it was good. Granted, it's the type of movie where you kind of feel like you know early on where it's likely going to go. It has, it's fairly predictable, but it's not always necessarily a bad thing, because obviously, how you tell the story is going to be a big thing. And I think this movie tells its story pretty well. This is the kind of Mark Webb movie that I like him making. He's the same guy who did like 500 Days of Summer, which I do very much like that one. It's a little fun, little quirky kind of rom-com that's not exactly a romance movie, but it's fun. It's got some fun performances, got some funny dialogue, it's got some neat little vignettes that are pretty humorous. This one's obviously more grounded than that one, but overall I really liked it. I think Chris Evans' performance is pretty strong.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of variety in it.
It's funny because I didn't know who the kid was at first, and then I saw it's McKenna Grace, and I was like, wait, I remember Vex bringing up McKenna Grace now. I know she's relatively young, but an adult now. I remember sharing a pic of her, and I'm like, yeah, she's kind of a smoke show now. And then it's like, oh, that's her as a kid, so it's like don't think about that right. It's like let's not think about that right now.
No, no, hard no.
Yeah. I think that like they're kind of a I guess uncle niece relationship. They have
Mhm.
really good chemistry with each other. And yeah, there was for me also a good amount I was sort of able to relate to as far as having adopted siblings and having now granted I wouldn't call myself like a math nerd, but like I actually did teach math to my younger siblings when they were homeschooled.
Nice.
And obviously it's like none of them were necessarily like math savants or anything like that, but it's what's cool for me is when I was doing that for them, I was kind of seeing little early pieces of evidence of where they might end up like in life too. Like my sister Hannah really, really stuck out as some because it's like she wasn't necessarily the quickest to grasp concepts. She was relative. I mean, she's quick enough, but she wasn't necessarily the first person to grasp a concept. Like the subject came easier to a couple of the others, but she worked the hardest. She was the one who's going to put all the work in, and she was going to be the one that gets like the better, the best grades and stuff like that. And that proved true throughout, because they ended up in public school by about the time they were in, I think middle school.
Yeah,
And
nice.
Hannah was the first one to leave the state. She was the first of the younger siblings to get married. She's I'm super proud of her, and she had a pretty freaking hard upbringing before we adopted her too. I mean, she went through some pretty terrible stuff.
Aw.
But
Well, sadly, that's all too common when it comes to the foster care system.
well, she wasn't like, I mean, well, like she's like they were Chinese. I mean, well, this is the Chinese. These are Chinese children, so some of them were just basically abandoned. She was a little worse than abandoned. I don't want to go into full detail about what happened to her, but it was pretty terrible. Yeah, it was pretty terrible.
Okay.
Like we initially thought she had been in some kind of an accident, then we found out someone had done something to her, some stuff to her, which was pretty awful. But yeah, she pushed through all of that, and she's doing quite well for herself. Husband's a great guy.
That's wonderful.
She gets to work from home. She's got, I think she has 2 kids or is about to have a second kid. Yeah, she's doing it all. I mean, it's really, really neat to see. But yeah, so there was a good amount watching this movie that I was like, yeah, I can kind of map that onto personal experience. But even aside from that, I thought it was a reasonably well told, simple story. I thought the interesting kind of unique dynamic they put into this is that the custody battles between, the uncle and his mother.
Yep.
So I was like, okay, that's unique. That's done a little bit different, but I like that they didn't focus too much on like any kind of melodrama. They kept it relatively grounded. It's like, even though this is obviously a situation that could easily, devolve into some extreme bitterness. And granted, you can do that really well on film to where you just make it this, this hurdle that a family can never quite get past. But I like what they did more or less as far as the story went. I guess like the only thing if I were to make a complaint about like where the story goes, I think I would have liked a little bit more as far as the whole thing between Evans's character and Jenny Slate's character. It seems like they jumpstart sort of a romance and then they just kind of leave it hanging. It's like it doesn't really seem to have an end or anything like that. It's just it's just kind of over or maybe still going. It's like it seems
so around the time this one came out was around the time where like more casual intimate relationships were becoming pretty popular. So I'm sure.
And I thought about that, and I was just like, I don't think that works in movies well, unless like that's what the movie's about. I don't like that in movies.
Yeah, it can be a little. The ambiguity doesn't help.
Well, and especially when you're kind of making an emotional, you start because like their relationship starts with them making kind of an emotional connection. I'm like, okay, so this feels like it's the early, stages of them being together and everything, and they seem like they sort of abandon it there at the end. I was like, that's sort of unfortunate. It's kind of funny also that because Evans and her I think they started dating right before this or during this movie. I think it was. Yeah.
Nice. I didn't know that. But but yeah, like near the during the third act when they aren't as connected, like that's because Chris Evans just isn't in the proper headspace. Throughout, he's very open about the fact that he's just trying to get laid. That's why he goes out on a regular basis. Like relationships aren't really what he's aiming for. He's just looking for some basic entertainment. He's a very flawed character in several ways.
Sure.
But yeah, he's one that I particularly enjoyed.
Yeah, like I said, he does. I think this is some of his best acting. It's not like an overdone performance. It's some people could easily watch and think, well, he's kind of just he's just playing the typical Chris Evans we're used to seeing. I think there's a little bit more, kind of emotional weight behind the story. I bought into, the type of care he was giving his niece. I bought I like the little subtle touches they have to kind of show that, kind of his parenting style, if you want to call it that. I think the dialogue, while it's not coming off like it's trying to be clever, but it manages to be, better than real life all the same. It's like it's a little bit sharper than real life, which I think that's a nice little balance that I think they managed to reach, which, I mean, I guess that didn't surprise me. I think I think the director did this. He achieved more or less the same thing with 500 Days of Summer. I would even say the dog's a little less overtly funny in this than 500 Days of Summer. 500 Days of Summer's dialogue tends to be far more comedic. But yeah.
And then we have McKenna Grace, who she really plays this character well, given how fucking young she was at the time. Like even just in this first scene here, where this is her first line.
You look beautiful.
I look like a Disney character.
I look like a Disney character.
Like, given her limitations, like she's a kid, she's got her teeth are kind of fucked up, she's got a bit of a lisp going on, but like her self-awareness is fucking incredible for somebody that age.
Well, she's kind of what's good about that line is it's a good way to kind of show it's like she talks like a kid, but she also has a little bit of an above it all attitude. It's like that's a good kind of starter for her. And she's like, I look like a Disney princess. Like, this is embarrassing. It's like she has more self-awareness than somebody of her age, which I'm like, okay, they're giving a little drop of what we're dealing with this kid. Because by the time once I started the movie, I just didn't think much about what I knew. I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna kind of let this movie hit me. I wasn't thinking about the fact that she was gifted. I think maybe I had seen a scene before that alluded to her being really intelligent. I didn't know exactly how it was going to play out. I guess I would wonder if this level of intelligence is genuinely possible with somebody her age. That would be the one thing I'd very much question, because she's like, obviously, like it being like what is she like? What is she like, 6 or 7 years old, and she's ahead of like the vast majority of college students already as far as math goes. Now, granted, obviously she had a lot of material that she was able to look at and draw from, because of who her mother was.
Also, like at one point in the movie, we learned that he's actually gone out of his way to teach her certain things, like the Trachtenberg system.
Right.
So,
boy, when they first said,
doing,
when he first brought up Trachtenberg, I was like, oh shit, he's shown her the Predator movies, the new ones. No. Why would you do that to a child? Take her away.
Give her to the mom now.
He's an abuser.
There's no bruises, but her brain. Her brain has gone too far.
It's the Trachtenberg system. You count how many flaws there are in his Predator movies, and you learn what infinity means. It's horrible.
Truly, I can't look beyond it. But no, like their interactions are fucking great. Like,
Throw him his ping pong ball.
Fred's gonna be fine. No more argument.
Yeah.
Okay, we've discussed this ad nauseum.
It was funny. Like, I was wondering as the movie was going. Like, I like that little. What's ad nauseum? I think that has a funny little payoff with that. And I like their interplay because you kind of you can tell pretty quickly that he's pretty intelligent himself. And I was curious, and it's like they had a nice way of kind of paying that off there at the end. kind of showing like, oh, he used to be a professor himself. It's like this is an intelligent family all around. I was curious how they were going to utilize the cat when they first introduced it. I was like, okay, it's
Fred the cat.
They love this animal and they're kind of putting some emphasis on it. What's going to be the usage of this? And I thought it was cool how they utilize that to show that the situation she's ultimately in late in the movie is not best for her either. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's not too bad. I like that. It's good usage of it. But yeah, the movie had some nice little setups, some payoffs. Again, wasn't hard to see where it would ultimately probably end. But it's the kind of movie you start watching because you expect sort of a nice emotional catharsis, and it's not always necessarily bad to know where you're going. That's fine. It's like you can know where you're going without knowing all the details of how you get there, and I think that's perfectly acceptable. I don't like movies persistently trying to pull the rug out from under you just for the sake of doing so. It's like some movies have a logical conclusion that it's like, just reach the logical conclusion. It's fine. It's this movie more or less achieves that pretty well. So yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, like not too long ago, Vex actually recommended that I check out Good Fortune, which I initially just wrote off because I could tell exactly where it was going to go, how it was going to get there, and I fucking hate Seth Rogen. That dude sucks. But on Vex's recommendation, I gave it a shot, and it was a very charming movie.
I don't think I've seen Good Fortune. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah. So it's
the one movie he's in. I wouldn't call it necessarily a Seth Rogen movie. He's in it though. Is 50-50 with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I would say that's a really good. Like he's been in a few movies that I do think are good movies. They're not his movies, but okay. Good Fortune's the one that that's a Keanu.
Yeah, it's got Keanu Reeves and Aziz Ansari.
Okay. Gotcha. But yeah, like 50-50s are real. Like I think that's a really, really strong movie. That's a really strong emotional core, and man, that has some scenes that really really hit you in the feels a lot. And he's first getting when he's getting put on anesthesia, and it's kind of almost like blind, like it's almost caught him a little bit by surprise. Like, oh my gosh, I'm about to go under, and I might not get back up. And the fear that starts to mount up, and he starts calling for his mom. It's like, oh man, okay, that's hitting the feels. That's effective.
Yeah. There's certain stuff you just don't outgrow.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, I do enjoy that movie. And again, as much as I fucking hate Seth Rogen, Knocked Up was a funny one.
I've never watched it. I've actually never watched that movie.
Well,
I've seen some of his other I've seen Superbad, which he's in. He's not the main star of it, but I think Superbad's hilarious. I love Superbad. So I know.
Well, there's just simple lines where the chick he's hooking up with takes off her shirt, and he's got his shirt off, and he's like, "Whoa, you're prettier than me."
Yeah. He's not incapable of being funny or anything. It's just his typical persona. Like, granted, when Knocked Up came out, we didn't really know Seth Rogen as Seth Rogen. We didn't have a whole lot of material to draw. We didn't realize that was pretty much all you were going to be seeing from him for the next 20 years. It's like, oh, you like Knocked Up, Seth Rogen? Well, get used to him because that's all he ever is.
Yeah.
Although I will give him credit acting wise for playing Steve Wozniak in Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs is such an underrated movie. Fassbender is absolutely amazing in that film. I have kind of more I watched it once right after it came out and thought, yeah, that's good. And then I started to rewatch it again. I rewatched it relatively recently, probably about 5-6 months ago, and I was like, damn, this is much better than I remember. And I've probably watched it 3 or 4 times since. I really love that screenplay. Really love the way the movie is structured, and gosh, the acting throughout is just absolutely excellent. And yeah, it's kind of a shame that movie gets overlooked the way it does, because I know a lot of people, myself included, have complained that Fassbender is not always in the best movies, and it sucks because he's such a good actor. And I'm like, yeah, but he was in Steve Jobs, and he is damn good in Steve Jobs. That is such a good film.
His delivery of so many of these lines where or he's confessing to his dad or to his daughter that like what I forget the beginning of it. But he says that he was just poorly built.
Oh yeah. Like, well, I mean, I know like in the early scenes where, you know, his daughter is asking, you know, which is the computer named after me? And he's like, no, it's just a coincidence. And like, he's trying to remain emotionally
Wait, his daughter's name's
attached.
Apple?
No, it's the model. I think it was named Lisa.
Okay.
So she's wondering, it's like, was that named after me? And yeah, he was like, no, it's just a coincidence. It just stands for this. And
Could have given
he was
it a
like,
win. Come on, man.
and he's trying to sell this because he's denying the idea that this is his daughter to begin with. He doesn't want to accept that responsibility at this early point in the of his story, but he ultimately does, and he starts to form a connection, but it's it's fractured. It starts like you can. What I like about the scenes with his daughter, even from the early ones, is that it's the thing that kind of gets you, because otherwise he is so like business savvy, and he is so like he's a marketing genius. Like that's really that is the genius of Steve Jobs in the movie, is that it's not because he's this great mind of technology. He's a marketing savant. He knows
it juxtaposes the understanding of people versus humanity.
Yeah, it's like he understands how to sell the idea, and like to me, like, and this is where I have to give credit to Rogan, is the scenes between those two are especially good, because on the one hand, you are sympathetic towards Wozniak's character. He's like, our product is the one that sold well for all these years and kind of kept the company afloat. Can you at least acknowledge this? And Jobs, I think correctly, is like, no, we need to move on. We can't be associating this old, because guess what? Now, late in the movie, he's like, look, the company also went under with that being the main product. So it's like, we definitely don't want to associate it with it now, but it's like, it's not about you all. It's like, we're trying to keep things in the here and the now. So they have this really great dynamic going on it. I'm like, yeah, this is really good stuff. And I have to give Rogan credit, because he is sympathetic, and he does his acting really, really well. Whereas, Fassbender's playing off him, just playing the other, kind of the cold other side of her. He's just like, no, I'm not acknowledging you people. Is like, that's not what this is about. It's like we're not looking backwards, or we're looking forwards. We're not going to allude back to some old, piece of irrelevant technology now. It's not what we're doing. And he is just dogmatic about it. It's great. I love their scenes. It's so good.
Nice. I'll have to watch that again sometime. It's been fucking forever.
Yeah, it's it's like we get too many biopics, really. There's some biopics out there that are hilariously bad, but I'm like, yeah, Steve Jobs one is pretty freaking good. It is good, and it's sad that it's been overlooked.
Yeah,
for as long as it has.
Yeah, got a drink recommends back in the day. Remember that?
I actually didn't know that. No,
yeah,
that's good. I'm glad it did. I'm glad, because I only got started watching Drinker probably till 17 or 18 probably. So I must have missed that one.
Oh, well, it happens. No worries. Now, one of the things I really, back to Gifted, one of the things I really enjoyed about it was like the how the court scenes worked, and how that led up to the scene in the hospital. Yeah, that was fucking gorgeous. And one of the things that a lot of movies kind of lean away from is like universal themes that everybody can appreciate, irrelevant of whatever, creed, sexuality, religion, blah, 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 blah. There's certain things that everybody can identify with and really hold on to. And that hospital scene in particular, I've never seen in another movie, which is kind of bizarre to me.
Yeah, it's well, and it's good. What's good is, because it's you have this court scene, which they meet. It's basically like you're kind of meeting the biological father for the first time, and I like that the court scenes are not overdone. They more or less are just, they're small scenes meant to establish certain points, and you're meeting her biological father, and they're pointing out that this guy, he didn't have his visitation rights taken from him. He's not had this child hidden from him. He just wasn't interested in her.
Yeah. So he claims on the stand that he's been worried sick about her. He wants to know where she was. He wanted custody of her. He wanted to be in her life. And then we demonstrate here that all you had to do was Google her name and go to the second tab.
Yeah,
and there she is.
One thing I really like about the way
time.
one thing I like about the way they play that scene is the father. You can imagine a person like this who probably tells themselves what he's telling the court, that he probably has done a little bit of loose looking to make himself feel good, but really isn't all that interested. But he's told himself he looked, and that's all he could do. And so he just kind of threw, it's like, well, and that's probably what he tells people, and that's probably what he told himself. And I like that they didn't overly focus on him, because it's like, granted, you could obviously like heavily vilify this guy and almost make him
absolutely
the antagonist if you wanted to go that route. But he's more there to demonstrate a point that, okay, this guy, he just didn't want any involvement, probably got the girl pregnant accidentally.
Probably.
And just, he ran. And then obviously the way they played up with McKenna Grace's character, where she takes it really, really hard. And then,
of course,
seeing Chris Evans' character, like when he bring her to the hospital, and kind of, it's like, okay, what is he doing? Because they're not telling you what he's up to.
Yeah,
maybe get an idea of like, okay, I can think of a couple things they might do here, but then you see it, and then it's like, okay, he's doing it so he can tell her what it was like when she was born. It's like, okay, that's pretty cool. I like that. Yeah. It's a nice little emotional payoff. That, yeah. And one thing I'll tell you, the thing that I think I was most impressed with McKenna Grace's performance is, this movie's trying to balance these two aspects of her personality out. That, one being, obviously she's a young genius, but also that, her uncle is trying to give her a normal childhood where she does play with other people and she doesn't lose the human connection that is.
Yeah, like the basic social skills that really like connect you to people.
Yeah, well, and not only that, but like him, when he is talking to his mother, he's like, yeah, if you sacrifice all of that, that's how you create a politician, somebody who's maybe is genuinely a genius, who might do things that help people, but they're going to be so disconnected from people that it might not matter whether or not it helps them. And he's trying to make sure there's a balance between the two. And granted, you could argue that realistically, that's not what would typically happen. But I'm like, as far as like being, a thematic message to a film, it's a good one. It's like, it is a good one, because like, if you actually are trying to benefit humanity, yes, naturally it would be good for you to have a connection to it and to actually care about it. And that's what he's trying so hard to instill in her. Yeah. And I think scenes that kind of show those elements, of her character and what the uncle is trying to do for her, it's like those are really good scenes. I really like that, because this is one of those things that if you play it wrong, the hospital scene, I mean, that it could be like super cheesy, right?
Yeah,
like
it could be
one of those scenes that could be ridiculously corny and kind of an eye roller if you do like the overly dramatic music and stuff like that. No, they play it just right. It's like they mostly keep the focus on her kind of realizing, oh, okay, so this is what it was like when I was born. There were people who cared, and her uncle is one of them.
Yeah. No, this scene's fucking great. Here she gets to witness.
It's a boy.
This is what I've been trying to tell you all along. You're actually black. Oh my gosh.
Oh no.
I knew it. I mean, that would have been a great twist.
Yeah.
It's like, huh? It's like, what are you trying to tell me, Uncle? It's like, you're actually black. It's like, oh my gosh.
That's why I like Loretta. No.
These are your actual parents. It's exactly that's why you and Roberta are such good friends. You all relate.
You got the vitiligo.
You have a shared culture. You got shared culture.
Yeah. But just this moment where she's asking, like, was this what it like? Was this what it was like when I was born? He's like, yeah, I was the one that said that.
Like, it's good stuff. Good stuff. They didn't overplay it. They made their point, and They made their point and they did it effectively. So I was happy about that.
Yeah.
Here's one question I would ask. Okay, so
What's that?
and I don't necessarily dislike Roberta's character, but I do wonder, and this would be the kind of thing I'd look for in rewatch, if she's necessary. Like if I like because like particularly if I want there to be a little bit more to the relationship with Bonnie. I mean, granted, I don't think she's she's superfluous in the sense that she doesn't fit the story. I think she does fit the story because of like the type of community they live in. There being somebody nearby who does babysit. That makes perfect sense to me. That there would be a babysitter and that the babysitter would be close and would want like a piece in her life. I do think that she works for it, but I would be curious as like if you would if they could use that time for Bonnie instead. But it's one of those things where it's like I don't necessarily think you have to, but I'd be curious like upon further thought which would work better.
No, I think that she's absolutely necessary. Like she gives Chris Evans the opportunity to bring Bonnie into their home and really overstep the parent teacher bounds. Like she's a great like emotional counterbalance to Chris Evans' character for like because the young lady's she's gonna need a more maternal character or person in their life to really like develop there to help them understand as they develop. So.
Well, and I think where she probably does fit quite well, at least on a thematic level, is she's kind of like she's the second person who's sort of indicative of like a kind of the upbringing this girl's getting towards. Like she doesn't have her father or her mother, but she has kind of peaceful, like she has an uncle and her babysitter is almost kind of like a de facto mother in a way.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah. So it's like, I think I lean towards her not necessarily being superfluous. It was a thought I had. It's like, could we necessarily go that route? But thinking about it on a thematic level, I do think she works for the story.
Yeah, she's great. But yeah, no, the never-ending fight between like him and his mom over.
Like, yeah, the mom character,
so
obviously, like that was the mom character was that's a tough role. I was like, as far as like the overall performance, I actually think the woman playing the mother, let's see, Lindsay Duncan is her name.
Yeah,
I would probably have to give her the nod for the best overall performance because she's really having to toe a line here because you could very easily hate this woman. Very easy. I mean, there's moments where you kind of do because she is so hyper focused on the idea of, ensuring that, the daughter reaches her full potential. And, obviously, with, her own daughter, being kind of driven to committing Sudoku to when she was younger.
We don't censor here.
Yeah, it's like you could very easily take that information and not only vilify the mother, but say it's justified to vilify her because look, this is what she drove her daughter to do.
Yeah.
That's a very easy thing to vilify her for, but the movie plays it a lot more sympathetically. Now, granted, it also like I have to make it come with somewhat of a criticism. I think that should have hit her a lot harder. That because I think once she finds out that her daughter didn't want the solution posted until the mother was dead, that's got to be the indicator. It's like, yeah, I drove my daughter away, and it's like that should have, I think. And granted, it hits her hard. I mean, obviously does hit her hard, but it's like I would have liked to maybe rest with that a little bit more. But I do appreciate that the movie, just didn't completely vilify her because it's like, yes, it's like you don't, as bad as that is, it's like you don't necessarily have to pile on. And yeah, I think the woman who played her did a really good job because it's like, yes, she's pretty cold for your average mother, but she's not altogether cold. There is some humanity in her, and that's it's a tough balancing act.
Mm.
tough balancing act. And I think she did it pretty well.
Yeah, yeah. Like, God, when you see her face, like
Mhm.
after these lines are delivered, like, fucking hell.
Yeah, like the scene where she's having to call the math department after finding that out. It's like I was like that. As far as like emotionally affecting, that one hit because I was like, yeah, this is like that's got to be painful. It's like
Mm.
that's really got to be painful. This is something your daughter kept from you. Daughter kind of, I mean, it's kind of confirms the daughter more or less hated her, and it's like she's having to deal with the fact that her worst fears about her daughter. It's like she thought she was doing the right thing because she's like, my daughter's, important
Well,
to the world. So that's a
yeah,
big
like
responsibility. It's like there's a part of that sentiment I would say I agree with. And even the movie I would say agrees with it. That's why I think the ending is what it is.
yeah,
But
like
that there is a great, like when you have that kind of ability, it's like you kind of do carry a responsibility with that. But
well,
it's
that's
easy to
one of the
get
things that
lost in
really.
that responsibility.
Well, that's one of the things like that they're. That's like the whole crux of their argument of where your responsibility or what part of your responsibility do you prioritize, like the person itself or the impact that person's going to have on the world if you push them hard enough.
Mhm.
Like this is one of those rare people like her daughter that has the potential to literally change the world, to solve one of 7 unsolvable problems.
Right.
And like, if you had that potential, really, like we've seen people push their kids for way less than that. Like
Mhm.
the kid,
Kids
like
kids get pushed like this for sports, for crying out
yeah,
loud.
or like those
Yeah.
stupid dancing competitions and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, those things are fucking disgusting. But
Come get your Botox injections, dear. We gotta make you look pretty for the cameras.
right. But yeah,
That's
this
the
is
darker version of Gifted.
it's little Miss Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, clearly, like this is their. It's not that she doesn't care about her daughter, really. It's that she has such a focus on what she could potentially achieve, and that's
Yeah,
what.
I mean she's an intellectual, and when she sees her daughter is genuinely special in that category, you kind of almost you begin to, like a lot of parents do, you kind of start living vicariously through them. And I mean, granted, the movie doesn't necessarily allude to her having like professional disappointments or anything like that, but she, at least from her professional, like she does have the one, which is that she married somebody and that kind of stalled her career, and in her mind she thinks, well, then by no means am I going to let anything stall my daughter, who's even more gifted than I was. You could make sort of a case that this movie is kind of taking something of an anti-feminist approach to its overall story in a way, because it's like, this woman is resentful that she got married and had children, and kind of is missing the forest for the trees, because she's like, yeah, but this daughter that you valued her gift so much, like that daughter wouldn't exist if not for that, you actually, having a husband, even though it didn't work, and having your kids, and this grandchild of yours wouldn't exist either. It's like you seem to be missing that. But yeah, it's like she just got so focused on the potential for achievement that she forgot that it's like, yeah, these people need to be human at the same time, right? It's like they still need to be people.
Yeah, God. Just that.
Yeah, there is, yeah. It's like, and this is why I'm glad. That's why I like talking movies like this, because it's like when coming into this, I was like, Gifted's fairly simple. It's like I can see why somebody would really like this movie if it hits them personally. But I'm like, yeah, there is depth to movies like this, even when they might seem like the kind of thing you've seen before. Because this movie in some ways feels like something I've seen before, maybe a few times, but it's unique enough in its approach, and it's done well enough to where it's like there is a lot to extrapolate from it, and there's a lot of interesting stuff you can pull from it.
Oh yeah, it's an absolutely amazing movie, like in my opinion, and it's such a shame almost nobody's heard of it.
I'm sorry, can I say that again?
I said it's an absolutely amazing movie. It's such a shame that virtually nobody's heard about it. But
yeah, it's Yeah, I can, and like I said, I think that's more of a consequence of it being kind of
It's
that type to where people think, oh, I've seen this kind of thing. It has, I guess Evans is a semi big star at the time, but wasn't necessarily selling out theaters. So yeah, this is definitely the kind of movie that I can understand how it got missed, but I mean, its IMDb rating is pretty solid. 7.6 out of 10 is not a bad rating. That's a good rating. That's definitely a good rating. So, but yeah, it's one that I definitely think is worth checking out. I mean, given the crap that most people consume, it's like this is a breath of fresh air compared to that garbage.
Absolutely. Fucking hell.
It's like personally after one watch, I'm not sure I'm ready to call it great, but it's definitely good. It's definitely something I'd check out again. And it's like I mean, I'd be fine with owning this, because like, yeah, I could watch this and have a perfectly good time. It's fun, it's funny, it's got a sweet message to it. It's not overly preachy or anything. There's a nice thematic balance to it. It's not overly saccharine. It's like, yeah, I liked it. I was like, this is a pretty good movie.
I'm glad to hear it.
It's a good flick. I liked.
Yeah.
That one professor was a dick. Not this one, but the other
yeah,
one.
that dude.
What a prick.
That fucking guy. But the way that they kind of set up everything, like this guy is so fucking dismissive of.
Like, oh, there's this unimpressive 6-year-old can't even solve this equation. It's like,
yeah, and they give you a little.
If she's even able to get close, I would be like, yeah, she's pretty gifted, dude. She can even get close to explaining this one. The fact that she's even sitting there pondering it, with that face, I'd be like, okay, I'm sort of impressed. She seems to at least have some understanding of what's going on here.
Yeah, most kids, their eyes will start glazing over just looking at the shit. But like, and they kind of allude very early on, like during the first bit with him, as his student is writing down the equation. She's like, there might be a problem with this.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just not even willing to hear her out. But then we have this back and forth. Like, she's 6 years old.
How much does she comprehend? It's like, if she can comprehend any of us, she's ahead of like most people.
Like 99% of the fucking planet.
Like, even that, like that response, he's like, and see, you're looking at our little problem. She's like, little, it's big. And I'm like, the fact that she even understands that, he's like, what do you mean? It's like, it doesn't even seem like he's trying that hard to see. It's like I mean, granted, I can understand like having a dismissive mindset going in. He's like, it's a kid. What the heck is she going to do?
Yeah, most people have no idea what's going on here.
Bino Seven asks, what does Gortine think of Snowpiercer and Puncture? I have not seen Puncture. I like Snowpiercer fine. It has problems, but it's kind of funny that it's basically structured like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, but it's like so there's some neat little inventiveness to it. I will say, I think the guy who directed it is wildly overrated as a filmmaker, to the point where it's become sort of annoying. Like I said, I like Snowpiercer just fine. I think it's good. I've watched it several times, so it's definitely entertaining enough. But it's Bong Joon-ho, the guy who directed it. I'm not saying he's not a good director. He is. Like I think like I said, I like Snowpiercer. I think Memories of Murder is really good. I know that's one of Vex's favorite movies, but he's also, and I think Parasite is wildly overrated. I think Parasite's good. I don't think it's a great film. It's good. It's fine. It's like a 7 out of 10 movie that people blow it up as like the best movie of the 21st century. I was like, you all are out of your minds if you think it's that good. There's plenty of problems with that movie. And the other one that's perhaps even more overrated is The Host. And I've watched The Host like 3 or 4 times. And I would say probably between Jaws and Godzilla -1, it was probably the highest rated monster movie between those two. Like that, critics adored that film. I gave it 3 or 4 watches. I think it's shit. I do not like that movie. I think the creature design's cool. I think there are ideas that are good, but I think the overall film kind of sucks. I really think that movie kind of sucks, and I don't see what all the freaking hubbub's about.
What the fuck? Have you seen the preview for the thing he's coming up with next year? It's called Ally. It is a CGI abomination looking thing.
Yay!
It's got tentacles on its head for hair. I don't know what the fuck this thing is.
No, never heard of it. I know I heard Mickey 17 was trash.
Yeah. Fucking what's her face has two Pattersons next to her, and she's like, "Yes, we finally have a three-way with two of the same man."
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, he's not a bad filmmaker. He has a really interesting approach to stuff. Like I said, I think Memories of Murder is a really unique crime drama that is worth checking out. Has some really nice subtle touches to it. But yeah, just his overall body of work
stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of variety here.
Mm-hmm. Like he's got a solid body of work, but man, people act like he's a Kurosawa as far as Asian filmmakers goes. Like he's not close. No. It's not close. He's not close. Like people lost their minds over Parasite, and I'm like, Parasite's fine. It shouldn't have won Best Picture though. There was at least like 2 or 3 movies in the Best Picture category that should have won over that. Give me a break. So that was nominated like the same year as like Ford v Ferrari, which is way better. Ford v Ferrari is significantly better than Parasite. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was better. 1917 was better. Like there was a lot of much better films from that year. It's like Parasite's fine. Calm down.
Yeah.
It's nothing special. It looks really nice. It's a really strong production, but
yeah, that's fair. So I suppose before we wind down, maybe we should apply our own personal rating systems to each other's movies.
Okay.
So as I said, normally when I consider, the different factors that make up a movie, I focused on cinematography, performances, the writing in general, and whether or not I liked it. Amadeus, I would easily give at least a 9.5 out of 10.
Yeah,
it's fucking great.
It's like when you said those are your standards, I'm like, well, Amadeus better score pretty freaking high because it's like hitting home runs in those categories.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
like it might not be like the most rewatchable movie ever, but it is basically flawless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's I absolutely adore that movie. For me, it's a 10 out of 10. I think it's a masterpiece. There's pretty much nothing in Amadeus that, and obviously speaking of the theatrical cut, there's pretty much nothing I would change about that movie whatsoever.
You said the trigger word. You got Sin in, and she is passionate.
Hell yeah. It's like I'm still salty 1970. Well, I mean, shoot. I just looked at the list it was up against. He had Ford v Ferrari, a Jojo Rabbit, Joker,
oh god,
1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, all were nominated for Best Picture alongside it. I would pick any of those movies over Parasite easily. Like it came out the same year as The Irishman. Okay, I think Parasite's better than The Irishman. I don't think the gap's that big though. I think those are both good movies. They're not great movies. And I mean, granted, Parasite's better than The Irishman by a bit, but not by a ton. Like me and Pops did a discussion about Parasite months back, and I really liked that discussion because I initially came into that movie thinking much more highly of the movie than I did, but he caught things that I didn't quite catch. But once he named like one of them, like pretty much started to unravel the issues, and I was like, okay, yeah, that is a problem. And then you could see how that entails this, that entails that. And it's like, yep. This movie is definitely far more flawed than people like to admit. So yeah, definitely shouldn't have won Best Picture. But anyway, so as for Gifted, like I said, it's this is a tough one for me to judge. Okay, so I'm right now after one watch, I'd probably say I'm somewhere between it being on my scale good and great, kind of on the low end of great. Which for me, the low end of great is 8 out of 10. And since I'm between, it's like I'd probably give it like a 7.5. I think it's sharply written. It's got good performances. I guess the only reason it's not getting elevated higher is because I don't know if I'd quite say it's anything at least for my first assessment, was done exceptionally.
Okay.
But
So out of curiosity, is there anything in there you think that could have been improved?
well, like I said, the only thing that really stands out on first watch is I would have liked a little bit more for the relationship between Evans and Jenny Slate, or at least been approached a little bit differently, because the way it ends almost makes it feel it's like, okay, was that tacked on just for the sake of it? Or were you trying to actually do something with it? Because it ultimately doesn't feel like they did much with it. So it's like, okay, it makes it feel a little bit tacked on. So that's maybe the one element of it that I would say sort of disappointing, but it's not a major thing really, because it's not necessarily the focus of the story, and that which the story is focused on, it does, pretty dang well. But yeah, like I said, on first watch, it's like I'm reluctant to move it past, the very good category. But again, it's like that could change with multiple watches. I've had numerous movies that my opinion has gone up considerably with more viewings. Like there's several movies that I used to think were bad or just okay that move up to great over time because they were just done so well. But yeah, this is definitely one that I will check out again. I'm very much looking forward to watching it again because I did like it a lot. It's a nice film. Nice film, nice message, well acted. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, I'm glad you liked it. Again, thank you very much for taking the time to check it out and join me today. That was wonderful.
Oh, heck yeah. That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun.
Glad to hear it. So you got anything coming up here in the near future?
The main thing I'm working on right now is a script for a video about the Odyssey. Everyone's talking about it, obviously, but hopefully I can, bring an approach that at least is different in its presentation than everyone else. Granted, my thoughts are very similar to other detractors, but at the same time, it's like, hopefully the video itself will at least be different enough to stand out.
All right. Well, I look forward to checking that out. Any chance I keep bugging you about Samurai Jack. Any chance you're going to check that out in the near future?
I don't own it, so probably not near future, but I definitely want to watch it at some point. It's a series that I've been interested in for at least a little while. So at some point I hope to get a hold of it, and we'll see what happens then. But yeah, it's on my radar. Just don't know when.
All right. No worries. As for myself, actually no plans for next week so far, but here on the 5th, I'll be doing 2 streams that day. That'll be fun. I got Uninspired Reviewer and Megan the Texan. So that'll be fun. So till then, again, thank you very much for the time that you shared with me today. Thank you very much to everybody in chat. I greatly appreciate all of you. So till the 5th or whenever I see you next, y'all take care.
Later, people.
Don't do nothing I wouldn't.